Right now, as we round off our round table with Julius Malema, the land issue, just in summary, people are worried. You heard some of the people on the streets and so on. They're worried about the practicality of it. And of course, Thabo also raising issue about agriculture. Of course, there's always an issue about, oh, you're going to give people the land. They're going to just waste it. And like we have seen with some of the land that was stolen by even some in the current establishment who gave it to their friends and it laid fallow. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, can you give me, in a summary, why is it so difficult to say people must own the land, must have a title deed to say, I've got this piece of land where my ancestors are buried, I want to own this and grow vegetables here and do my own thing in this piece of land that was taken away from me before. Now the state's going to own everything.
No. What we need to do is to put the state as a custodian of the land. And all of us, nothing changes. Wherever you are, you remain there. We will all make application to have the right of use. So if this is my house, I'll say, I need to continue occupying this place. I'm using it for residential purposes. I've got this piece of land, I'm using it for agricultural purposes. And then from there, once that is done, the remaining of the land, which no one says I'm doing anything here, shall be allocated to the people who do not have the land and do not even have the resources to buy such land. That includes the urban land, by the way, not just a rural land, so that our people can be closer to resources, closer to where they work, closer to where they do business. In that way, you won't be compromising food security. Because the current farmer that produces the whatever they are producing, they are not tampered with. The only thing they've lost is the relevance of that paper called the title deed. But otherwise, their machines, their houses, everything still under them. They control that. We are going to actually increase the food production because most farm owners, they use a small portion of the farm. And they say, I will use the other farm in the next 10 years or so, blah, blah. Why are we not giving it to JJ to use now? Because we're not going to eat after 30 years. We want to eat now. And let's use that other piece of land, which is idling.
You think that message is clear, though? Because people are afraid that now their properties are going to be taken because the ancestors, are said to have stolen this land, etc. Do you think the message that says those who are sitting with land that they are using won't be tampered with? Do you think that message has sunk in your articulation of what you want to do with the land?
The message is very clear. You must know that the people that are going to lose are the privileged people. And the privileged people are the ones who control the narrative. And you think someone who's so privileged can just give away that privilege easily like that. They are distorting it, projecting us to be some warmongers, create an impression that we're going to enter into farms with machete and take people out. No, it's going to be done constitutionally, in orderly manner, and the state becomes an authority, not war veterans, not MK
How do we make
veterans,
sure, though, that
that
process is fair, right? So for the past 15 years or so, or even more, there's this thing called LRAD, Land Redistribution Program. There are farmers today, even today, who have not applied for that LRAD thing because it's just so complicated and there's cronyism there that is going on. Certain people get that piece of land. Now we are taking land again, putting it almost through a similar process, as you're saying. You're going to need to apply, you must supply this, prove that you are going to farm, and so on and so forth. And people are just going to sit and say, look, this process is way too complicated.
No, well, if you read the EFF manifesto, we outline it very well there, that there are going to be land tribunals where a matter is not dealt with to the satisfaction of any individual. The tribunal, which will not require legal fees or anything, anyone can walk in there and say, we think here cronies have benefited. We think here you're not handling this matter properly. And if you're not happy with the outcome of the tribunal, then you must go to the land court. You know, in South Africa, a land court has got one judge, yet land is the big issue. That's why issues are not being resolved. So in the EFF manifesto, we say, we are not going to put less than 10 judges in the land court Because in the immediate, it is going to be a big issue. But the judiciary, an independent judiciary, should be there when the tribunal are not satisfied. People are not satisfied with the decisions of the tribunal. They should be able to approach the land court. And we want to design in the EFF government a different process of approaching the land court so that there are no serious legal fees, which makes it difficult for land claimants to get justice in court, because land is justice.
We're going to have to leave the land issue there and quickly answer one of the questions from Twitter was, who's your successor? Internal democracy within the EFF, you are marching towards your conference at the end of the year and so on. Apparently, Dr. Mdluli surmised that you may not even stand. I think you was trying to make a point that it's a democratic thing, that it's not a given that you'll stand. What's the answer to that question? Succession?
After my grandmother passed away, there are a lot of things I'm considering, whether I should continue with these things, I must, revamp myself and get something different, because that was some sort of inspiration for me. And I did everything. Everything I did was to impress her. Everything I did was to make her proud. And I'm not even sure if I want to continue with these things. I'm in that state. So Dr. Mdluli speaks about that in that context, that this guy doesn't seem even to be interested like that. So it's possible there will be a different person in the EFF. But
you have a succession plan, because you fashioned the EFF around your particular leadership style. I mean, let's face it, right?
Yeah, and that's why you get it wrong, because I speak to Cyril in Parliament. I make a point, you say, no, you are not as tough as usual. Mbuyiseni does that. He becomes more tough and more radical. We're saying you. Because you want to make it a cult.
It's not?
No, it's not. I'm giving you an alternative. I say, here is a man who does exactly what you want us to do. We don't care about that. We want you. That's a problem. Because if it's not done by me, it's not sufficient. And yet EFF has got a life way beyond me. I see the EFF becoming something else even beyond Julius Malema. We're going to a conference in December. Every position is contested. There's no position which is not contested. And again, it will be you when we contest each other. If Dalimpofu comes and contests me, it will be you who are going to say, the EFF is highly divided. You saw how they were wanting to kill each other, contesting each other in Nazareth. When people contest each other, you have a problem. When people don't contest each other, it's a cult. What can you do? We live with it. You ought to do.
But the media seems to be like that also.
You ought to do what is right, because if you don't stand firm on what you believe in, you become a political amoeba, you become shapeless. They will pull you from all sides. You do this, they say, aye, it's not enough. And then you do a different thing, aye, it's not enough. So
will the media be free under an EFF government? Just give me a summary.
More than free. The EFF is the organization that is more accessible to the media. There's no such an organization as accessible as the EFF. But I don't even think you know where.
Don't you think there's a bit of an overkill from time to time?
I don't even think you know where the UDM offices are.
UDM?
Yes. You see? That's how transparent we are. We're here. We're just on your face.
Have you gone overboard a bit in criticizing the media? There was a stage where
I didn't go overboard.
Where you said outside that state capture that you will never read the Sunday Times.
It's useless. So you call that thing a newspaper?
But 3 weeks after that, you wrote an article in the big article by Julius Malema in the Sunday Times.
I've never wrote an article in the Sunday Times.
Also, are you saying they were just written for you?
My man, I've never wrote an article in the Sunday. I wrote an article in the Sunday World.
No, Sunday Times. No.
Unless Sunday World shared it with Sunday Times. I didn't write.
I see. I got it from someone else.
I've never written an article for Sunday Times. I've never taken an interview with Sunday Times. When Shoba calls me, I tell him, you're not a newspaper. You are a mouthpiece of an establishment. And I shall treat you as such.
Can you lump all journalists in the Sunday Times under one brush?
That's a problem.
Can you come in there?
That's a problem, because you see, And you must appreciate that. You are a journalist here. You are not the owner of newsroom. When we talk about newsroom, you are just an employee.
And
when we say Sunday Times, please.
Yeah.
We are not talking about any journalist in Sunday Times.
Yeah.
Shoba is my friend.
Yeah.
I talk to him all the time on the phone. And then he will confuse that conversation to be meaning I'm available now for interview. Don't try it. Once you use Sunday Times name, we have a problem. But me and you can drink together. I don't have a problem with them.
now, if when you look at the fact that, just outside the State Capture Commission, as JJ, alludes to, there was also a statement that you made where you said you must challenge the enemy on social media. And one of, the arguments placed by Advocate Nqogai Toby was that no one who's reasonable enough can take that at face value, literally. But we saw an attack on Karima Brown when her number was put on social media, and we saw some people are taking what you're saying literally.
No, but Karima Brown, it's me who put a number. It's not some people.
But they went with what you're saying. And
no, I didn't listen to my message and put Karima Brown message. No, I did it. Because I thought she was plotting the EFF. And I put the number thinking that if I do not, the people say it's not authentic. The Twitter people came to me and said it's violating their policy because I can't show the number. And I deleted it. I didn't know that showing the number. I wanted to show that this is authentic. I'm not making up stories. But they said the number is wrong. So I said, no, that's fine, fair enough. I deleted it. So I might be challenged with those things of, hiding the number. Umbuiseni are the ones who must do those things of hiding numbers for us.
But you're in court with
and then I accepted. And I said sorry.
You said sorry to Karima.
To Karima, I said sorry.
She still took you to court.
Yeah, but I said it doesn't change the fact that you are an ANC stooge.
But in 30
It doesn't change the fact that you are a mascot of the ANC. Yes, you were a head of the ANC.
I know we almost
as a journalist, right?
Yeah.
So, and then in court we said that we said after all this, do not harm these people physically, particularly females. Whereas, if you are EFF, you must thrive through superior logic. And anyone who is engaged in those things, including anyone who called for the raping of Karima and all, I went on record and said, we do not agree with that. And if Karima has got contacts of people who, their names and anything like that, bring them to us. We will go and open the case ourselves against these culprits who are threatening women with rapes. But it doesn't mean I can't engage Karima robustly. Sometimes a robust debate comes across as being violent, but that's how politics are. I mean, Adrian Basson says in his paper to court, in my opinion, I'm allowed to be biased, and therefore I'm biased. And when I take a platform and say, this guy is biased, he's not reporting news. And you say, no, you are threatening media freedom. The man says in the affidavit, I'm biased, it's true.
But do you think there's a need for a conversation, as you said, outside court, between you and Sanef to try and see whether
we'll meet Sanef anytime. We're too busy. No, at the time they wanted to meet, it was on the eve of elections. They wanted to sidetrack us so that we lose 30 minutes and Ramaphosa gains 30 minutes. So we didn't have time for that.
But
we
now
refused.
You have the time.
But now we can meet at any time. Matlatsi and me and Matlatsi were related. Matlatsi's mother is Malema. So there's actually, why would I go and kill my own cousin?
We've got to leave it there. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you for the invitation.
Visit us.
Thank you.
We will, of course, invite you again to talk to us. Thank you so much for your time. Colleagues, thank you so much for joining in the round table. We hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as we did in just trying to understand what the EFF is doing, how it's taking forward challenges that are facing this nation. But until we talk frankly again, God bless you.